Open your kitchen cabinet. Right now, picture it. Somewhere in there is a small bottle with a red cap. You've never thought about it. Why would you? It's just pepper. Just paprika. Just the thing you reach for without looking. But that little red cap is the visible tip of a company that earns nearly $7 billion a year, operates in more than 150 countries, and quietly decides what a huge share of the planet tastes like. You don't know its real reach. The grocery store doesn't advertise it. And in 2026, this company made a $45 billion move so big that regulators on 3 continents are now trying to decide whether to let it happen. The story of how a man who once sold roach traps door to door ended up controlling your spice rack is stranger than you'd ever guess. And it starts with a lie we all believe about flavor. The year is 1889. In Baltimore, a 25-year-old named Willoughby McCormick rents one room and a cellar. He is not a spice man. Not yet. What does he sell, door to door, on those first hungry days? Root beer, fruit syrup, flavoring extracts, and then, as the months get leaner, liver pills, talcum powder, fly paper, birdseed, roach traps. Anything that would sell. This is a man throwing everything at the wall to survive. He doesn't touch a single spice until 1896, 7 years in, when he buys a struggling Philadelphia outfit called the F.G. Emmett Spice Company. And right there in that one purchase, he discovers the move that will define the next 130 years. He realizes he doesn't have to invent flavor. He can simply buy the people who already own it. That single instinct, growth by swallowing rivals, is about to turn a roach trap salesman into the most powerful name in the history of taste. But it almost died with him. By the 1920s, McCormick's red and white tins sit in pantries across America. The smell of cinnamon and cloves reportedly hangs over downtown Baltimore for decades. Then, in 1932, Willoughby dies. The company could have faded. Instead, it does what it always does. It acquires. In 1947, it buys a shilling of San Francisco, and suddenly McCormick reaches coast to coast. The same year, it opens its first factory overseas in London. The local spice maker becomes a global one. And the brands you think are competitors? Watch this. Lawry's, Old Bay, Frank's Red Hot, French's Mustard, Zatarain's. To you, those look like 5 different companies fighting on the shelf. They are all McCormick. You think you're choosing between brands. Often you're choosing between rooms in the same house. And the most beloved one of all has an origin almost nobody knows. Old Bay. If you've ever eaten a crab on the East Coast, you know that yellow tin. But McCormick didn't create it. A man named Gustav Brunn did. A German Jew who fled the Nazis, arrived in Baltimore in 1939 with almost nothing, and built a blend of more than a dozen spices that a region fell in love with. McCormick bought into that legacy in 1990. A recipe born from a man escaping genocide is now a line item on a corporate balance sheet. That's the part the cheerful tin never tells you. And here's one more. You know the legend of KFC's 11 secret herbs and spices. The recipe locked in a vault. The recipe no one supposedly knows. McCormick supplies some of them. The most famous food secret in the world isn't a secret from the company in your cabinet. By now, you might be thinking this is just a really good business. Smart deals, great brands. But twice, the United States government looked at McCormick and used a very specific word: monopoly. In the year 2000, the FTC settled charges against McCormick, calling it, in plain language, the largest spice company on earth. The accusation: it had been charging some retailers far more than others for the same products, squeezing the ones who had nowhere else to go. Then it happened again. 2008. McCormick tries to buy 2 seasoning brands, Lawry's and Adolph's. The problem? If it succeeded, it would control nearly 80% of the entire U.S. seasoned salt market. The FTC said no. It forced McCormick to sell off a piece of its own business to Morton for $15 million, and then banned it for 10 years from buying another seasoned salt brand. Remember who McCormick was buying those brands from in 2008? Unilever. Hold that name. Because in 2026, the exact same two companies sat back down at the table. And this time, the deal wasn't worth $15 million. It was worth $45 billion. On March 31st, 2026, McCormick agreed to combine with Unilever's entire global foods business. The price? $44.8 billion, roughly $15.7 billion in cash, and the rest, around $29 billion, in stock. When the dust settles, Unilever's shareholders are set to own the majority of the combined company. And what does McCormick get for the biggest bet in its history? Hellmann's mayonnaise. Knorr. French's mustard. The quiet spice empire absorbs the condiment empire in one move. But that little red cap from the beginning? It can't just buy whatever it wants anymore. Regulators in the United States, the United Kingdom, and the European Union all have to approve this. Some analysts have already used a familiar word for what the combined company would control in certain aisles. Near monopoly. The deal isn't expected to close until 2027. It may yet be blocked or carved up. But step back and look at the whole arc. A man selling roach traps from a cellar in 1889. A company that grew by quietly swallowing its rivals for over a century. And a single red cap in your cabinet that turned out to be the doorway into one of the most powerful food empires on the planet. Here's the one thing to take with you. The biggest powers in your life are rarely the loud ones. They're the ones so ordinary you stopped seeing them. You'll never look at your spice rack the same way again, so look around your kitchen one more time. Because the next invisible giant we uncover, you probably ate something it made today. Subscribe and let's go find it.